You are listening to WMNH 95.3. The commander to the supreme leader, Matzo coming down.
Welcome, everybody. Here we go. Happy Monday. It is Matt Connarton Unleashed, and we are live from the studios of WMNH 95.3 FM in glorious downtown Manchester, New Hampshire, also on Comcast Channel 6 if you're in Manchester. And hello to all of our online listeners across the nation and around the globe. You can go to my website, mattconnerton.com, for all of your live streaming options, social media links, contact info, show archives, etc., etc. Today is Monday, October 9, 2023. Happy Indigenous Peoples Day, as we like to say around here. And I am not alone.
Jenny, darling, you're my best friend.
Hello.
Jenny is here at the news desk.
I am present. I love that song.
Yes, and we've got a great musical guest coming up, too, at the top of the hour from somewhere in Massachusetts. What is it, Southwick, I think?
Yes, Southwick, Massachusetts.
A place I'm not familiar with, Southwick.
I believe that's Western Mass.
Is
isn't
it? Probably.
I'm guessing.
Probably, yeah.
I'm terrible.
So we've got the band Oozie is going to be joining us at the top of the hour. Yeah. Just played one of their tracks, and
I
we're
love
gonna
that song.
we're gonna play some more, of course, later in the show. At the top of the hour, we'll play something, and then we'll get those guys on with us via Skype. Or I'm not sure how many members are joining us, but we shall see. So looking forward to talking with them. Recommended, I believe, by Dan Patrick Cahill from the band DC Wolves, who joined us last week.
I believe so.
So that was a good time. That's a band I really like too. Absolutely. If you'd like to join us in the first hour, 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007 is the studio line. You can also text me at 617-917-4476. I'm on social media at Matt Connarton. You can email me, matt@mattconnerton.com. And, of course, you can interact and opine in the Facebook live chat. But the best thing to do so that we can hear and enjoy your dulcet tones is to give us a call at 603-250-6007. And you've got a big event coming up Wednesday.
Yes, we do. There's a healthcare rally for care over cost taking place right here in the Queen City on Wednesday from 3 to 6 p.m. There will be sign making art going on. There will be a march and a little bit of a walk going on. And there will be speakers and story sharing as well. This is a part of a national effort. So they're in cities all across the nation. There are care over cost campaigns that are going to be going on simultaneously as our own. And we are all standing up for the fact that healthcare is a human right and should be available to all, no matter who you are.
Yes.
So we will be there, yes. And this is in conjunction with People's Action, which hence I am wearing the T-shirt for those who can see from the online feed. And
I'm wearing the hat.
Yeah. I brought that back from the convention, actually.
Yes.
Great group of people. Absolutely amazing. They've done a lot to help me personally. I am the proud owner of a home device to have home lymphatic treatments done on my lymphedema. And, you know, my doctor said I was the first patient he's ever gotten one of those machines to. And that's thanks in part to People's Action, and as well as our very own Rights and Democracy New Hampshire. So come on out on Wednesday. I'd love to see you. I will be there. I will be speaking, and great chance for all of us to see each other in person. That's at Pulaski Park at 128 Bridge Street here in the Queen City on Wednesday from 3 to 6 p.m.
Yes, indeed. And I won't be there, obviously. I'll be on the air, but I'm sure it will go great.
Oh, yes. I'm very excited about this.
Yeah.
I am very excited about it. And it's something we have to keep pounding the pavement, keep getting our voices out there, keep talking to the elected, I can't speak. I was going to call them electric. Elected critters.
They're electric. Boogie, woogie.
Maybe that's what we need to do. Go up there and shock a few of them. Come on. Vote the right way. Although right now, there's so much going on in the world. Yeah.
Well, yeah, so that will be on.
Yeah.
And by the way, too, you mentioned rights and democracy.
Yes.
So for anyone who missed Friday's show, we had Sebastian Fuentes, whom you met through Rights and Democracy, right? He does work with that organization.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Great guy.
And we also had a gentleman from
New Hampshire's
from
ACLU.
from the ACLU, yeah. And we talked about immigration in the second hour, and really enjoyed that discussion a lot. So if you missed it, that was Friday's show. Yeah, lots going on.
Years ago, when I was in the office, the New Hampshire ACLU had a wonderful representative named Claire Ebel, and she was amazing. And I had the opportunity to work with her.
I've met.
Yes,
I met Claire when I was Gary's co-host on Rock Paper Hand Grenades.
somebody who is so well liked by both sides of the aisle.
Yeah.
Absolutely, she really had a way of bringing people together. And she was known for handing out chocolates. She would come into the hearing room before something contentious and just give us all chocolates. I loved meeting and working with her, and I'm glad to see the ACLU in studio.
Yes. By the way, Miriam Banish is in the Facebook live chat, and she says she will be there on Wednesday as soon as she can get there.
Yes,
To the
she's
event
coming.
at Pulaski Park. Very
I'm
good.
excited to see her there too.
Very good. Well, let me give the studio line again, and then we'll say hello to everybody in the Facebook live chat. But if you'd like to get in with a call, 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. But let's say hello to everybody in the Facebook live chat before we get into some stuff. Melanie La Liberty from the great state of Vermont joins us and says, hey, guys. Hello, Melanie. J-Fed, of course, also from Vermont. I think they know each other, actually. Says, good afternoon, everyone. I assume. You know what, though? I just assume everybody in Vermont knows each other.
Well, no, wasn't there something particular about them
Maybe.
today? Wasn't today something special?
Oh.
I think.
Is it one of them had a birthday today? Is that it?
No.
Oh.
You don't pay attention, do you?
Oh, is it their anniversary?
Happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary.
I'd play the song, but I think Peter already covered that on the morning show.
Well, they can have doubles.
The morning show with
They're
Peter
worth
White.
doubles.
Well, we have a call. Hi, welcome to Matt Connarton Unleashed. Who's this?
Oh, it's someone who's interviewed Clary Bell once.
I believe it's pronounced Ebel.
Ebel, okay. Well, it was 10 years ago, so I hope I've had enough time to forget.
Dave,
forget and be forgiven.
Dave Ridley is on the line with us. What's going on, Dave?
Well, have you paid much attention to what happened at the Concord Federal Court this week?
Are you talking about Ian Freeman being
Correct.
He got he got a sentence of was it 8 years?
Correct. 8 years for selling Bitcoin to stupid people, basically.
Do you think, assuming he behaves himself, he won't actually do 8 years, though, right? I mean, usually, isn't it considerably less as long as you don't cause any trouble?
His wife is projecting 5 years, I believe,
5?
after talking to experts.
Yeah. Well, you know, I've always liked Ian, but I don't know. I don't know what to say.
Well, I think you're not supposed to know what to say because they made sure it wasn't a case where they were coming after him for marijuana or something like that, something that was obvious, and they made sure it was complicated. Does that make sense?
They made sure that the case itself was complicated? Correct. What do you mean expand on that, Dave? You mean complicated in other words, difficult for a jury to comprehend, so they would be more likely to assume he was guilty, or what do you mean exactly?
Partly. You know, generally speaking, juries don't know much about Bitcoin, and I think they made sure that this one didn't.
Interesting. Okay. So what happens next? I mean, did he go right to prison, or I don't know this process very well. I've never even I've been arrested for anything.
His case is on appeal, but they seized him right away and sent him off to Merrimack, the jail at the Boscawen.
Oh, okay. Wow. Are you going to go? Are you going to visit him?
It's possible. I don't know where he'll be by the time I'm ready to get there. I don't have a vehicle, so it's somewhat difficult to make the throw from here to there. I just sent him a letter, however, and if anyone wants to either write him or, I think, visit him, the details were just posted to forum.shiresociety.com. For those who don't know about him, he's another important talk show host in New Hampshire. He runs more. His show is more syndicated. More of a syndicated show, but it is also based in New Hampshire. So, and of course, the theory is that a key reason why they targeted him is they didn't like what he was saying about the federal government on his show.
Now, Free Talk Live, his show, we had talked about that recently before, that it was changing. It was going to be more on weekends. Is that now that he's not going? Obviously, he's not going to be able to continue to participate. So, what do you know? What happens to that now?
Well, actually, he probably will participate some from jail, but he can't do much of the technical stuff. And that's where he really shone, is he knew how to run all his equipment.
Yeah.
So there will be technical problems. They've reduced the show to 4 days a week instead of 7 days. We don't know what will happen next. Certainly, they've solved one. The feds have definitely solved one problem for the show, though, and that was. They were starting to get to a point where they were kind of just getting the same old stale callers who wanted to talk about traffic stops or traffic signs in New Mexico, and this lady would call in every night about traffic signs in New Mexico.
I think I know. So it's been a long time since either of us have listened to FTL, but I do think, was she someone who had been calling in for years and years? Because I'm pretty sure even now, I know who you mean. Who you're referring to?
Yeah, they call her Sarah in New Mexico. That's what she calls herself, I guess. Sarah in New Mexico.
Yeah.
She's just a Marxist that lives in Albuquerque and wants the government to fix her seatbelt. And so they've been true to their word, and they let everybody through.
Yeah.
They've let her on all these years, even though she's a Marxist who doesn't want to talk about anything interesting. But what was happening was, like, most of the callers were starting to get like that, right? So they were like, well, this is not working anymore. Maybe we should. And then the federal government, it's kind of like that episode of The Simpsons where the guy comes up and hits Mr. Burns on the knee. And Mr. Burns is like, wow, I was about to give up, but now my knee feels so much better. You put it back into place. So it's kind of like suddenly the Free Talk Live is just flooded with useful, interesting calls. Everybody freaking out over what happened with Ian or having some new information. And so suddenly they have actually exactly what they were asking for.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Dave. Well, like I said, I mean, I don't know what to say, but I don't know. Anything else to add?
Say freedom. The word is always freedom.
Freedom. Remember that, the George Michael song?
But it's good to hear you back on the air, Jen. I haven't heard you on in a while.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, she's usually here on Mondays. You got to tune in on Mondays.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's usually when I'm kicking around here, yeah. Usually pop in on Monday and
That's right. All right, Dave. Well, anything you want to plug something? NH Exit or Ridley Report or anything?
Oh, well, I mean, that is the obvious solution. If we had an NH Exit, we wouldn't have the federal government charging NH people.
I suppose. I mean, you might have the New Hampshire government, whatever that would end up looking like, charging people, but maybe not.
Well, here's how that works, right? Like, you believe what you see, not what you hear. Okay, here's what I saw. Here's what I saw.
Yeah.
I did 2 identical demonstrations in the state revenue office and the federal revenue office, right? Over a 1-month period, just 2 identical demonstrations. Each of them took about half an hour. You know, all I would do is just walk in with a sign that said something, right? Like, just like some grievance or what. Just sign it. Anyway, these 2 protests were not substantially different. The state bureaucrat in charge of the Department of Revenue Administration came out, shook my hand, answered my questions.
Yeah.
We almost became friends after that. I saw him quite a few times after that.
Aw.
And the IRS had me arrested.
what?
The IRS had him arrested.
To me, that says it all. That says it all about how different the state and federal governments are. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. Well, yeah, the IRS is not known for their sense of humor, or at least certainly not according to the ads that I hear every day on satellite radio. Optimatex relief. Ba-da-da-dum, ba-da-da-dum. I have their jingle memorized. I hear it every day, multiple times. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Dave, that the IRS arrested you, but you couldn't have been that shocked.
That's why it's so much better to be ruled just by a state government as opposed to a state government with the federal government on top of it.
Well, he was probably expecting sheriffs or FBI.
Yeah.
Probably didn't have any preparation ready for
Hey, you just
ready
never,
for the IRS to come get him.
You just never know. You just never know.
Oh boy!
All right, Dave. Very good. Do you want to plug? What is it? NHexit.us.
Yes, NHexit.us.
All right, very good. All right, Dave. Well, we appreciate the call and we appreciate the update on Mr. Freeman.
Thanks, guys.
All right, you got it, Dave. Take care. All right, that was Dave Ridley from, of course, the Ridley Report and NHexit. I did see another. I didn't snap a picture of it, but I did see another NHexit bumper sticker on a vehicle. So I guess the word is spreading. 603-250-6007 is the studio line. If you would like to join us, 603-250-6007. But we'll finish saying hello to everybody in the Facebook live chat here. But
I just want you to know I'm out of Facebook jail now.
Oh, good.
I had to do time for you.
Yeah. I see you in the chat room. You said shalom peeps.
I am everywhere.
I noticed when I was sharing the show out on Facebook when we first got on the air, I got something. I shared it to the IPMNation.com Facebook page.
Yeah.
And a thing popped up that said, "We have removed your content." I don't know. But that's my page. Why can't I share my show to my page?
I don't know.
It doesn't make any. It's Facebook. Damn you, Zuckerberg,
Bruce.
Well, I blame him as well, but that goes without saying.
Just saying.
Bruce, I hate that guy. Let's see.
Oh no. I'm trying to share it all out again, though.
Oh, Dan Patrick Cahill from DC Wolves is in the chat room and says, howdy, howdy. I hear Oozie will be on this afternoon. Yep, coming up at the top of the hour.
Somebody told us about them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it was Dan.
Yeah.
Rhonda Favero, of course, from the great state of California, joins us in the chat room. Hello, Rhonda.
Help me, Rhonda. Help me, Rhonda.
Eon Venom 4, who I strongly suspect is from Greensboro, North Carolina, says, hello, #Matt and #Jenny. Good afternoon. We say to you from us, we say, who is your guest today? Happy Columbus Day to you from both of us. We are watching you from Greensboro, North Carolina. We are a pop singing group, man band quartet.
Woohoo.
By the way, Eon Venom 4, around here we say Indigenous Peoples Day. Although I don't clutch my pearls, as I think the young people say if I hear someone say Columbus Day. I mean, technically, legally, it is Columbus Day, but I prefer Indigenous Peoples Day. That's my thing.
I really like Oozie, and I like their name, and I think that Oozie should make a song, an entrance song for the Usos, and be Oozie.
Ah.
Oozie.
Oh, yes, perhaps.
Right?
Perhaps.
Yes.
Tom Blanchard says, here in Goffstown, there's a guy hanging from a helicopter working on the power lines. Kind of cool to watch.
You got a picture?
That's interesting, yeah. Picture or it didn't happen.
Yeah, I want to see.
Post some video of that, Tom. I'm curious to see that.
It's not something that I would want to do.
No. Let's see.
Did I ever tell you I went up in the bucket on the fire truck?
Oh, yeah.
I got really scared. I was so pitiful I couldn't even stand up straight.
Miriam says in the chat, my experience with the latest COVID vaccine and the flu shot at the same time is not like yours was, Matt. Not 100%, but a lot better today than yesterday. I got the shots on Saturday afternoon. Worth it to prevent getting COVID again. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, if you don't know what Miriam's referring to, by the way, so a couple of weeks ago, you and I on the same day, we got the updated COVID vaccine and the flu shot.
And I was good.
On the same day.
Yes.
You were fine. I was,
You were down for the count.
Well, what always happens is, so, I get the shots in the morning and then I'm fine for most of the day, but I was feeling pretty fatigued. And then that was the day we had Fox and the Flamingos. They were our musical guests. And I think having such a great musical guest live in studio playing and everything really kind of helped energize me and get me through it. But as soon as they left and we were off the air, I was feeling it, and I went right home and curled up on the couch. I was in rough shape, but well worth it. I'd rather feel crappy for a night. And you took my temp, and I had a fever, low grade fever.
Yep, which is fine. It's just your body.
That's
reacting.
a good thing, right?
It's a good thing.
That's a good thing.
So you had a low grade fever, which we did not need to treat. You slept, and when you woke up the next day, you were perfectly fine.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I was still a little bit fatigued, but I was a lot.
But you were fine.
But
you
I was
could get
much,
up, you
much
could walk
better.
around, you could go out and drive and go to the store.
I was much.
To me, that's fine.
Much
if you
better.
can go out and go to the store, you're fine.
But worth it to feel like that for a night than to feel like that for a week or 10 days or whatever.
All it took was I had a primary years ago with Dr. Richardson, who I think the world of. Once told me that if I got the flu, it could kill me. So, yeah, I get the flu vaccine and the COVID vaccine every year now.
Yep.
Just because apparently my body won't do such a good job, they say.
Eric Pilcher joins us in the Facebook live chat, and I think his post said tonight or tomorrow, he and his friends are recording that special film review of the new Exorcist movie.
Oh.
Yes. So really looking forward to that, and you'll be able to get that. We'll put that up on, we won't be able, that'll be a special. So that won't be a part of this show, but we are going to put it up on mattconnarton.com so that our listeners can enjoy it when it's ready. That's going to be pre-recorded, but we will put it up for you all. Looking forward to hearing that.
Pea soup.
Huh?
I'm going to get some pea soup.
Why?
So I can throw it at you while you're watching. Make you feel like you're really into it. In the movie.
Oh, no.
Maybe get you some popcorn.
That sounds horrible.
Oh, live the experience.
Dan from DC Wolves says, I had a similar reaction to the flu/COVID shot. Felt terrible for about a day. Yeah.
Did you learn about exorcism in your catechism classes?
No, we never discussed it. I learned about it from the movie. Shannon is on the line. Hi, Shannon.
Yeah, hi. Hi, you guys.
Hi.
It's Fireman Appreciation Day, or Firefighters Day.
Oh, I didn't know that. Well, we love our first responders, so I had no idea.
Hearing them go by with their sirens on shows, right?
It happens quite often. Yes, there will be sirens at some point during the show. That is true.
Yes, there will be sirens.
Well, we're right.
There will be blood.
We're right downtown. Well, I hope there's no blood.
Well, no, but the movie.
But if you want blood, you got it. That's one of my favorite AC/DC
songs. Oh, I got
songs.
that at spades. I got Bloodsport here with me.
What?
I live with a phlebotom. My cat's just if he gets me, he's a little feral.
Uh-huh.
And if he bites or scratches me, I take a paper towel and I just dab it up and then wash
One
it.
should clean all wounds with soap and water. One should clean all wounds with soap and water.
Oh,
Just saying.
no. I went straight for, I even skipped hydrogen peroxide, went straight for the rubbing alcohol.
Okay.
That I figured that would clean it out pretty good.
But flushing it with clean water is really a great choice.
You don't want cat scratch fever.
I hate that song.
How do you know? That it's a real thing, but what
it is a real thing.
But what is it?
Ted Nugent wouldn't make anything up. He never lies.
No, it is a real thing. It's a type of infection.
Can somebody Google it? Because I want.
I don't want
to.
I don't want to know because I don't really like Ted Nugent.
Okay.
I don't think she's talking.
And I don't need to know because he's been scratching me for 5 years.
Ted Nugent's been scratching you for 5 years?
Yeah.
I got you, sweetie. It is a. It isn't. What is this? It says, oh, it's a fever. What is it? Rare. It's very rare. It can cause, it can mess with your brain, your eyes, your heart, your internal organs. It requires intensive treatment. It's more likely.
Why do you sound like you're about to crack up, Jenny?
I'm not, actually.
Yeah, you are.
Symptoms will begin 3 to 14 days after being bitten or scratched by an infected cat. People with weakened immune systems due to disease or medication are more likely to have complications. So don't do that.
There's your PSA for today, cat lovers.
I got you back, girl. There you go. I looked it up for you.
It's also like when they purr, you don't always know, you think they're happy, but did you also know that it could be that they're in pain?
That they're in
Did
pain?
You know that?
Purring?
No, I
When
didn't.
a cat is purring, it could be purring because it's just
That's a new
happy
one.
as a clown, or it could be purring because it's in pain. The purr doesn't mean happy all the time.
Oh.
That's
not know
that's
this.
real too.
Paulie C says in the chat,
Uh-oh.
also known as felinosis, caused by a cat scratch.
I'm working on trying to get passionate.
What?
Jackie Collins, God rest her soul. Do you read her at all, Jenny? Anybody?
Who?
Why would you?
Jackie
Why would you
Collins.
ask Jenny specifically if she reads Jackie
Because
Collins? That's
I
very.
don't.
The lady on the
That's
show.
that's very
No.
sexist.
Okay, Matt, did you read Hollywood Husbands or Hollywood Wives?
Honestly, Shannon, never in my life has it ever even occurred to me to pick up a Jackie Collins book.
I read autobiographies, but that's about as close as I get.
I can't even imagine reading a Jackie Collins book and enjoying it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't do the romance novels.
Well, just real quick, in one book, she's got this kid, Silver, that she doesn't acknowledge really at all. Silver's uncle takes care of her. But she sings, and the song she sings is, I've got passion. And it just drove me nuts trying to remember that, that's all.
The only one I want to hear singing about passion is Rod Stewart. That's an underrated classic.
I always heard that at Vino's in
What?
Concord.
What?
That was always on the jukebox at Vino's.
Oh, Vino's, yes.
Jukebox heroes. No?
Yeah.
Foreigner.
So appreciate your firefighters, people.
Yes, yes.
Clean
Absolutely.
out and around the plugs. What are they called?
Huh? I don't know. What are you talking
The
about?
plugs.
The plugs? Joe Biden has plugs. He has hair
Thank
plugs.
you. I was about to say the thing the dogs pee on. Clean them out in the wintertime.
Clean your plugs?
Clean the if you want to, but clean out the hydrants. Shovel them out for the firefighters.
Oh, the fire
and
hydrants.
for your
Yes.
own homes.
Yes.
Don't bring up four-letter words.
Well, which one?
It's not time yet.
Oh no!
Talking
I
about
had
that
my
stuff.
AC on 2 nights ago.
Yeah, it's been nice. The weather's been really nice. It's been warm. All right, Shannon.
Okay, but yeah. So now you learned a couple things,
Yes.
and it's Blindness Awareness Month.
Blindness Awareness Month?
Blindness Awareness Month.
Oh, I didn't see that.
You are really, come on.
Hey.
Right?
Later.
Really?
Bye, Shannon.
Really?
I have pigmentary glaucoma. I'm allowed to make jokes.
No, that does not make you allowed to make jokes, especially since it doesn't mess up your vision, says the girl with a hole in her eye. So, meh. And by the way, she was telling the truth.
About
Purring,
what?
Cats. Purring doesn't always mean they're happy.
Yes.
They can be stressed, anxious, or communicating needs like they're in pain or uncomfortable.
Yep, Dan Patrick Cahill said that in the chat room too. He said
did not know
that's
this.
true. And Chasing the Devil is in the chat room and says, "Hey guys, always good to catch the show. Meow."
Wow.
Mm-hmm. 603-250-6007 if you'd like to join us. 603-250-6007. Don't forget, if you are just joining us at the top of the hour, we have a great band. Oozie from Southwick, Massachusetts is going to be Skyping in. J-Fed says that was funny, Matt.
He's just trying to encourage you. I don't like you anymore, Jay. I'm gonna send Melanie after you.
It's their anniversary. How dare you? Let's see.
Have you met these two?
No, never in person. No.
Have you seen their front lawn?
Yes. I've seen the pictures.
Yes. There are more skeletons on her front lawn than in the store.
Melanie says we will need to save Matt a seat in hell. Don't want him hanging out with weirdos.
Wait, I want to sit there too. It's more fun.
Christian Collins is in the Facebook live chat and says, hi, Jenny and Matt. Hello.
Hola.
Let's see. Somebody else had popped in here too.
Popped. I don't want to pop anything.
Oh no, it was Miriam was already in there, but she made a comment about. She said the ad for The Exorcist showed her in the bed with the bed shaking around the same time there was a little earthquake we felt in Pennsylvania, and I woke up to my bed shaking. Scared me so badly. Oh, that's understandable.
Okay, that one's funny. I say hello to Christian Collins. I see you saying hi to Matt and I. See you. You missed an important soul.
Rhonda says, I don't think that this cat scratch fever old Ted was referring to, LOL. I don't think that was the cat. Yeah, he might have meant something else.
But it's the reason why nobody thinks it's a real thing is because of the stupid song.
Right.
When it is actually a real thing. And I think it's a stupid song.
Kyle Clayton, of course, from the morning show with Peter White, he said, when someone gives you a layup like that, Matt, you have to take it. Yes, exactly. I mean, the joke was right there.
Stop it.
How could I resist?
No.
And again, I have pigmentary glaucoma, so I'm allowed.
What is your goal for the day?
My goal for the show, you mean?
Yes.
My goal is the same as it is every time I come in to do a show. It is my unofficial mission statement. For those of you who don't know, if you're a newer listener, you might not know this. My goal every day, my goal is to come in here every day from 4 to 6 p.m.
Oh, spit it out.
From 4 to 6 p.m. and spend 2 hours not getting fired.
Right.
And
this is not helping.
If I get to 6 p.m.,
yes,
and I have not received a text message or an email or a voicemail telling me not to come in tomorrow, then I feel it's been a successful show.
I think it's a false sense of security.
Probably. I mean,
and I think you're
who knows?
skirting the line.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
Let's see. Well, we should not to be a downer because we have been having some fun, but
which I think we all need. I know I needed to take a break from the world earlier.
Yeah.
And just watch something stupid and try and giggle a little.
So there is something, if you haven't noticed, something pretty serious going on in the world, of course. And there's just, I'm looking at AlJazeera.com, and there's a reason why I'm using this particular news outlet, but they just have some breaking news. Israel says it has mobilized 300,000 reservists and has ordered a total blockade of Gaza, cutting off food and fuel and everything.
And President Biden has announced that 11 Americans are gone. 11 Americans have been reported killed.
Okay.
And it is likely that there are American citizens among those being held hostage.
Yeah. Charles Richardson joins us in the Facebook live chat and says, what if you get fired at 6:01 p.m.? Well, that's the thing. Yeah, there's a little bit of a time buffer there, certainly. But the reason I'm looking at Al Jazeera, so I was listening to Michael Smerconish earlier on the POTUS channel on satellite radio, and I don't catch Smerconish every day, but I try to when I can. I think he does a really good show. And but he was mentioning that AlJazeera.com, because it's difficult to find, increasingly so, sort of just straight news without any sort of, especially if you're looking at cable news, but even a lot of websites, it's hard to find things that don't have some sort of spin or point of view behind them. And he mentioned that Al Jazeera has an article up that explains Hamas, which is just very straightforward and fact-based without a lot of editorializing and so forth. The reason I thought this would be interesting to just look at, and it's short, but it just kind of explains Hamas, which is, of course, the terrorist organization that has been attacking Israel. That's certainly my interpretation of these events. I know there are people who are, well, we might get into that later, but there's no excuse for terrorism. I mean, look, I think we've talked about it on the show a little bit. I don't necessarily, certainly don't necessarily approve of the way the Palestinians have been treated. But this doesn't help, and this only makes things worse. It inflames things, and a lot of innocent people end up dead. I mean, more than 1,000. People are calling it, this is Israel's 9/11.
Israel, I believe, is even saying that at this point.
Oh yeah. This terrible attack.
I've also heard it compared to Pearl Harbor.
Yes, and Netanyahu says, that they are at war. But people might not know much about Hamas and what Hamas actually is. And Smirkanish had mentioned on his show that this article, there's an explainer on Al Jazeera, which is very good and explains it simply. And I could use a refresher myself. I'll tell you, as much as this is kind of my own quirk, but there might be people who can relate. As much as I have always tried to be very aware in terms of what's going on in the world, and especially from in terms of conflict and whatnot. When it comes to Israel and the Palestinians, and I've always supported a two-state solution. You don't hear about that as much anymore. I think a lot of people have given up on that idea, but I also, there have been periods of time where I just haven't paid much attention because I've just kind of felt like, the situation is so static. It never seems to improve. There never seems to be any real progress. And I've gone periods of time where I just haven't paid much attention to that specific conflict because it just seems like it never goes anywhere. Unlike some other conflicts that I are a little bit more dynamic in terms of how they change over time. So I don't always pay as much attention as I should. And there might be some other people. There might be people in Israel feeling that way because this came as a shock to a lot of people. They were, it was, I forget, what was was some sort of holy day there? Or they were celebrating something.
It was Saturday morning for one thing. So it was Shabbos.
Okay.
But it was also the holiday of Sukkot. And there's a lot of people in Israel there. I mean, I was personally, before this happened, I was actually watching. I like to watch a lot of the walking videos that people make in foreign lands. So you see the world as if you were walking with them. Mm-hmm. And I had been watching people celebrating the holiday, and like there was tons of people down at the Wailing Wall, and then this happens, and there were 22 different towns that Hamas targeted. I mean, this was a large scale planned.
Oh yeah.
I'm glad to see, I should say, Schumer has actually been talking quite a bit with Xi Jinping and has actually gotten him to issue a statement saying, and I think I wanted to add this to what you were saying, that the ongoing events in Israel over the past few days are horrific. I urge you and the Chinese people to stand with the Israeli people and condemn these cowardly and vicious attacks. Yeah. So it's a strong statement coming out of China at this point, which I just got across my screen. So I wanted to share that with you.
China is condemning the attacks, in other words? Is that what you're saying?
This is Xi Jinping. I'm saying his name right? Xi Jinping?
Yes.
All right, the Chinese president.
Okay.
He had made a statement, and I guess it was kind of weak. And Chuck Schumer, the majority leader, I guess had talks with him, talks with the foreign ministry, and Schumer had expressed that he was disappointed with the earlier statements from China. So they went back and talked more. And now this has come out. I'm reading from The Hill that Schumer said, quote, "I raised with President Xi the unfolding atrocities carried out against Israel and the need for the world community to stand together against terrorism and with the Israeli people, and poignantly requested that President Xi, that the Chinese foreign minister strengthen their statement." They did, Schumer said on Monday. And the Chinese foreign minister on Sunday had said, "We call on relevant parties to remain calm and exercise restraint and immediately end the hostilities to protect civilians and avoid further deterioration of the situation." So that was what China said on Sunday. But after Schumer went back and talked to them some more, they've now issued a statement as of today saying that the ongoing events in Israel over the past few days are horrific. Schumer told Xi, I read the wrong quote twice, that China's foreign ministry is very deeply saddened by the civilian casualties. But they did say point blank, the ongoing events in Israel over the past few days are horrific. Sorry, I read that to you twice. I urge you and the Chinese people to stand with Israeli people and condemn these cowardly and vicious attacks. So Schumer's actually been putting pressure on China, and it seems that they've, if I'm reading this correctly, they are standing in nobody's corner, but they are also not fueling the fire. If I'm reading this correctly.
Okay.
I think I might be reading this wrong, though. I got to be honest with you. I mean, I'm probably not the only person around whose head's kind of spinning with all of this and seeing horrible videos. And, this isn't something that's going to go away anytime soon. This was a massive attack. They're now listing the death toll at over 1,200.
Okay. So I want to just look at this quickly.
I really think I got confused on that.
So
Forgive me on that one.
That's okay. So this is from Al Jazeera. It's just a good quick explainer. What is Hamas? A simple guide to the armed Palestinian group. So it says here, Israel and the armed Palestinian group Hamas are locked in an escalating conflict that has left almost 1,000 people dead in a little more than a day. And this actually went up yesterday. So as you said, now it's over 1,200. On Saturday, Hamas launched an unprecedented attack on Israel, blowing up parts of the country's highly fortified separation fence and sending fighters into Israeli communities along the Gaza frontier. The move prompted the government of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to warn of a long and difficult war. Israeli jets are bombing the Gaza Strip, leveling high-rises and civilian neighborhoods. But what is Hamas, the group at the center of it all? Here's what we know. Hamas stands for the Islamic Resistance Movement, and in Arabic means zeal. The group politically controls the Gaza Strip, a territory of about 365 square kilometers, which would be about 141 square miles. That is home to more than 2 million people, but is blockaded by Israel. Hamas has been in power in the Gaza Strip since 2007 after a brief war against Fatah forces loyal to President Mahmoud Abbas, the head of the Palestinian Authority and Palestinian Liberation Organization, often simply referred to as the PLO. Okay, the Hamas movement was founded in Gaza in 1987 by an imam, Sheikh Ahmed Yassin. I'm not sure I'm saying that exactly correctly, and his aide Abdul Aziz al-Rantisi. Shortly after the start of the first Intifada, an uprising against Israel's occupation of the Palestinian territories. The movement started as an offshoot of the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt and created a military wing to pursue an armed struggle against Israel with the aim of liberating historic Palestine. It also offered social welfare programs to Palestinian victims of the Israeli occupation. Unlike the PLO, Hamas does not recognize Israel's statehood, but accepts a Palestinian state on 1967 borders. Khalid Mashal, the leader in exile of the Palestinian group, said in 2017, quote, "We shall not waive an inch of the Palestinian home soil, no matter what the recent pressures are and no matter how long the occupation," unquote. Hamas violently opposes the Oslo peace accords negotiated by Israel and the PLO in the mid-90s. It is formally committed to establishing a Palestinian state within its own borders. It has pursued this aim through attacks on Israeli soldiers, settlers, and civilians, both in the occupied Palestinian territories and in Israel. The group as a whole, or in some instances its military wing, is designated as a terrorist organization by Israel, the United States, European Union, Canada, Egypt, and Japan. Hamas is part of a regional alliance that also includes Iran, Syria, and the group Hezbollah in Lebanon, which opposes U.S. policies toward the Middle East and Israel. Hamas and Islamic Jihad, the second largest group in the region, are often united against Israel and are the most important members of the Joint Operations Room that coordinates military activity among the various armed groups in Gaza. The relationship between the two groups has been tense when Hamas has exerted pressure on Islamic Jihad to stop attacks against Israel. And then the last part of this. So what prompted Saturday's attack on Israel? Hamas spokesperson Khalid Kadomi told Al Jazeera that the group carried out its military operation in response to atrocities the Palestinians have faced over decades. He said, quote, "We want the international community to stop atrocities in Gaza against Palestinian people, our holy sites. All these things are the reason behind starting this battle," unquote. Hamas also called on other groups to join the fight, saying Saturday's attacks were just the beginning. And is Hamas targeting civilians? Osama Hamdan, senior spokesperson for Hamas, told Al Jazeera that the group was not attacking civilians, even though the group's own videos have shown its fighters taking elderly Israelis hostage during the fighting on Saturday. Rights groups such as Amnesty International have also pointed out that Israeli civilians had been killed by Hamas. But Hamdan insisted that the group was attacking only settlers living in illegal settlements, whom he described as legitimate targets.
Who's going to buy that bull?
Oh, I know.
I watched the videos. They attacked, there was a concert, a festival, a music festival going on. They attacked the music festival. They killed hundreds of people.
Yep.
They took hostages. They show young women being brutalized and taken away. They show a woman being taken with her children. I've seen interviews with the father who's beside himself to find out people who's had children at this event, and they ping their phones all the way back to Gaza.
Yeah.
You know, and as you've been speaking, Hamas has announced they're going to start killing civilian hostages in retaliation. They set out and targeted civilians. They didn't target military.
Right.
And now they're trying to say, oh, no, come on. This is horrible. No matter how you look at it, this is horrible. I'm honestly worried that we're watching the start of a bigger, wider, what could become a World War III. I mean, there's the fires burning along the Israeli-Lebanese border, the Lebanon border. It's burning.
Yeah,
You got Lebanese fighters coming in attacking Israelis.
I don't. I mean, I don't think it will. I don't think it will come to anything that drastic, you know, unless we were to do something stupid like Senator Lindsey Graham, who loves war, as we all know. He's always encouraging war. He wants Biden to attack Iran in retaliation. That would be a flashpoint for World War III. That would be insane. But of course, Lindsey Graham would be perfectly happy to blow up the world. He thinks it would be pretty awesome, judging from his rhetoric over the years.
McCarthy's claiming there's some kind of dollars earmarked for Iran, that there's $6 billion in earmarks, and that he wants Biden to stop that. But of course, this is part of his major speech where he's like, I'll come back and be speaker.
Well, that's the money that was unfrozen because they released those hostages.
And he wants it refrozen.
Yeah, I don't know if that can be done technically.
Why not? Why not? Why can't we?
No, I'm just saying I don't know how that all works. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying I'm opposed to it. I'm just saying I don't know how that works.
Is there any doubt that Iran has got something to do with it? Has supplied some of the weaponry? Oh,
I wouldn't doubt that at all. I wouldn't doubt that one bit.
So where does this go? How does this not turn? It's a war. It's been declared. It's the first time that Israel has declared war since 1973.
There's just a little bit more to this article. It says, and this addresses how they were able to carry out this attack. Hamas says its fighters took several Israelis captive in the enclave, releasing videos of fighters dragging bloodied soldiers. It said senior Israeli military officers were among the captives. The videos were could not immediately be verified, but matched geographic features of the area. Fears that Israelis have been kidnapped evoked memories of the 2006 capture of a soldier whom Hamas linked fighters seized in a cross-border raid. Hamas held Shalit for 5 years until he was exchanged for more than 1,000 Palestinian prisoners held by Israel. Hamas also sent paragliders flying into Israel, the Israeli military said. The attack recalled the famous assault in the late 1980s when Palestinian fighters crossed from Lebanon into northern Israel on hang gliders and killed 6 Israeli soldiers.
I did misspeak earlier. I did mix the Schumann's comment with the Chinese foreign minister. The Chinese foreign minister full comment was, quote, deeply saddened by civilian casualties caused by the conflict between Palestine and Israel, end quote. That they're not taking any kind of a position at all.
WMNH, rip the knob off.
Coexistence, you may begin to find a bit of resistance when life's hollow at the core. It's a bore. Happiness is futile with the structure like textile, woven in the fabrics of space and time. Renegades for the future, we don't get down like that. We have always been here for all humankind. I'm just sitting here treading water.
Oh, that's good stuff. That is called Demise of the Dawn Treader, and the band is Oozie. And we've got them on with us via Skype. Hi, guys. Can you hear me?
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, welcome to the show. You are live on Matt Connarton Unleashed, of course, from the studios of WMNH 95.3 FM in glorious downtown Manchester, New Hampshire. And Jenny is here with us as well at the news desk. And welcome, guys. Now, who do we have? Is it the whole band, or is it part of the band?
Yeah,
Whole band. Yep.
Awesome.
Band.
Awesome. That's not always easy to pull off with everyone's schedules at this time of day. So I appreciate you guys being here. Where are you from?
We're from Southwick, Massachusetts.
Now, okay, that's what I thought I'd read online. Now, Jenny and I were trying to figure out, where is Southwick?
It's outside of Springfield.
It's
Okay.
the little notch in the bottom of Massachusetts. That's Southwick.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, okay, I know where Springfield is. So, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
I was right. I said Western Mass.
Western Mass. Yeah, that's true. You did say that. Yeah.
Really?
Very good. So, obvious question. Let's get this part out of the way. Where does the name come from, Oozie?
Oozie comes from our previous band name, which was Oozie Jacuzzi. And we had a series of member changes. So we ended up reforming as Oozie as the music progressed.
Ah, I gotcha. And I love that track, Demise of the Dawn Treader. Is that the single? Because you guys, I noticed you guys have a video too for that on YouTube.
Yeah, that's seems to be our most liked song. So we decided to throw it up, do a video for it first. Yep.
Yeah, no, it's really good. I like that a lot. And how many of you are there? 4 of you in the band?
Just us three.
There's just 3 of you.
Yep.
Oh, okay, cool. You guys sound big for a trio. Like, you got a big sound. it's pretty cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Well, why don't we do this? Why don't you each tell me your name and what you do in the band, so we can kind of get to know you a little better.
I'm Adam Slim. I'm the drummer.
Okay.
I'm Tristan. I'm the singer and guitarist.
Okay.
Cooper, I'm the bass player and backups.
Cooper, I like that. I like the bass solo there, by the way. I'm a bass player myself, so I appreciate that kind of thing. So that's cool. You don't hear that very much.
Thank you very much. Yeah, well, not really a solo, but a little more ambient, a little more notes for the bass players.
Yeah.
Out there that need that. We all need that.
Coop fills in as our lead guitarist that we don't have for sure by being a lead bassist. So
yeah. No, I noticed that. That's one of the things that I think makes your sound kind of unique. How do you guys describe what you do? Because it's I find it a little hard to put it in a really specific genre because you do sound a little different. It's not conventional. How do you describe it for people who've never heard you?
I think that's pretty awesome that you pick up on that. So I don't think we put ourselves in a genre when we write. I think we just write whatever we feel, and what comes out from that is whatever it ends up sounding like. So it's a really organic sound from us and our music tastes.
Yeah. How long have you guys? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I feel like the music more comes across. It's a little more old school rock and roll, not like 70s rock, but I feel it has that blend of 90s music that has that feel to the overall production of everything. It's got a little bit of rock, jazz influence, and it's got that 90s hard rock, throaty feel, really kind of groovy kind of stuff. So I feel if anywhere, I think it's more influence of the 90s and early 2000s rock and roll kind of style.
Yeah, I agree. And it's not, it's not super slick. There's a rawness to it that I really like that I think is missing in a lot of modern rock music. Everything is so overproduced now. And
agreed.
Yeah,
100%.
We didn't record anything on a grid or anything. We just kind of let it flow out then. How does it feel today? And just let Adam nail down the basis for the times of everything and how it felt, and just keeping it a little more on the raw side.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like it a lot. Do you guys do you play out a lot? Do you play a lot of shows?
Yeah, we try to play quite a bit. We're expanding out a bit, but we've had some local shows lately that have been a huge success. We've done really well at them, and we're really thankful. We're on a couple shows coming up here. We have a show opening up for a New York ska band called the Pilfers with Stop the Presses, Green Street Fiends, Pink Slip. That's a really cool show. It's like a hardcore ska show. We're stoked to be on that. And then weekend after, we're going to be playing. We're opening up for Unearthed, which is just amazing. It's such an amazing opportunity for us.
Nice.
And we're friends with a bunch of bands that are opening up that show, like Hero and the Horror, Atomic War Machine, and Once Were Kings. So we're ecstatic about those shows. Just can't even wait.
So as our band falls and plays, like both of these type of shows, like one is a very heavy metal type show, and the other is a punk ska thing. So we kind of get somewhere in the middle, and we're just like happy to play with all these different kinds of bands and all the different styles that are out there. We're lucky to be like adopted by like all styles of music, being somewhere just in the middle, floating around.
Yep. I think that's an advantage when you have a sound that's a little bit hard to pin down or to put in a box. You wind up being able to play shows with different kinds of bands because you're not necessarily in a very specific sort of category or genre. So I think that's really cool. And it's always just the three of you live. Do you ever have anyone join you on stage, or is it always the three of you? Because like I said, you have such a big sound. It's really remarkable.
We've had the singer of a band called Dance Cancer out of they were out of Pittsfield. They're out of Albany, New York now. But the singer Tom O'Mara, he would do a couple verses in our song "Opportunity" with us live whenever we played out together. But besides that, we've
Paul.
Oh yeah,
we had Paul hop on too before. From left hand backwards.
Yeah, that's right.
Nothing really serious in the long run, just to like mess around with type of stuff.
Yeah, just having fun in the moment. Yeah.
And what do you guys have out for music? Do you have a full album? Because you sent me quite a few tracks. Is that all one album, or do you have singles or?
Yeah, that's our album, No Lie to the Wild Eye. We released that July 8th this year. That's a 9-song album we put together. It's our debut album, so we're just coming out swinging with that right now. So
excellent. What went into the decision to put out a full album, especially right out of the gate? Because, we live in an era where you have a lot of different options. I remember a time when, putting out an album was kind of the standard thing, or at least an EP. But now you can do that, or you can just release singles, or there's different ways to do it. Was it important to you guys to come out with a full album all at once, right out of the gate? Was that an important thing for you to do?
For me, I felt like to have like a real product, like moving forward, and to present everything of how we wanted it to sound in the studio, to start like playing shows and being like, well, this is the ground floor, and this is where we're starting off at, and this is what we're going to give to you. And moving forward, it could be different. Maybe we could put out just like a couple singles or something, but we'll see what the future brings. I mean, that's what it was for me.
Yeah, I think it's lyrically, to me, it's kind of a state of mind that we were in and experiencing all at the same time too. So they're all kind of written, they intermingle in a way, maybe not to the average listener, but to the artist. To me, they it's all one piece. You couldn't really separate them. It wouldn't make much sense, I think, coming from what we're trying to do. So.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Go ahead.
Plus, when you have like when the music is diverse, right? You're like, oh, this is like a really bizarre reggae part, and then next you're like, oh, this is really metal, or this just kind of feels like rock and roll. When you give out like a big piece, people aren't gonna like look or realize, be like, oh, they're trying to do this now, or they're just trying to do this now. It's like, this is what we do, and we kind of do a lot.
Yeah.
We don't want to have every we just don't want to be like a full on
just a single
like a metal
single
band
after single,
or
Right.
or reggae band or whatever.
I think some of the songs on the album aren't necessarily meant to be a single anyway. They're meant to be part of a bigger piece.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And you do have that mix of influences. How does the songwriting process work? Do you guys all write together?
Yeah. This album was a little weird because like I was saying about the creation or the transition from Oozie Jacuzzi over to Oozie, some of these songs we had a lot of parts put together for them. So when the three of us were finalized as Oozie, we had really taken these parts and orchestrated them the way we wanted indefinitely at that point. So that was kind of unique. What I find now is that we're writing as a three-piece. We're writing new stuff right now, and it's really amazing. It's the really cool part of being in a band is when you get to write and put new music together. It's my favorite part anyway. But that's kind of what
by far.
Yeah.
And where do you guys record? Was the all the songs on the album, were they all recorded in the same place?
Yeah, we recorded with Mark Allen Miller out of Sound Lab Studios in East Hampton, Mass.
Okay.
Mark Allen Miller is a veteran in the recording industry. He has the Pixies playing in his studio for practice.
He's
real
recorded
cool
a lot of
dude.
Dinosaur Jr. stuff.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
a really lot of really high talent, independent works out there for the past 25, 30 years, I think.
Yeah, quite a while.
We like Mark too because he really is on board with that kind of live, no click track vibe. He's got a good ear for capturing that sound.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah, I was thinking when you said his name, I couldn't place him, but the name was really familiar. But that's interesting that he worked, some of the people that he's worked with, and yeah, that's great. How did that come about? How did you? Because you've got a lot of options too in this era in terms of how you record, and there's always a lot of different studios out there. How did that come about? How did you connect with him, and you got to work with him?
Mark Allen Miller he's a pretty well-known name in Western Massachusetts.
Yeah.
So Adam and I play in another band called Mothman Apparatus, and we had done some work with him before in a little side project called Dog Name Atomic. There's a whole bunch of different side stuff, but
yeah,
we worked with him before, and it was outstanding. I mean, the experience and flow of everything was just killer. So we brought that up to Oozie, and it was a no-brainer.
Yep.
Does Mark sort of become like because it so often happens usually by accident, but does he sort of become like a de facto producer even though he's engineering? Does he sort of wind up having a lot of influence on what you're doing?
There was a lot of good talk between all of us. Sometimes he would lay down some incredible ideas and be like, oh, I hear this subtone underneath, and he would throw something in, or one of us would be like, this is what I really hear for this part, and this is really the vibe that we're trying to go for. So it was a lot of back and forth working together,
Yeah, I'd say he produced a lot of the sound. We had a lot of conversations on how to capture what we want the album to sound like. None of the parts changed. There wasn't any producing like that, like moving around the structure of songs, but a lot to do with just getting the overall vibe. Yeah,
it was a really cool experience. That was really cool. I'm definitely looking forward to doing it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I assume you want to record with him again in the future, right? And it sounds like it like you really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I never worked with Mark before, and I thought my experience working with him was great. You know, there's so many like incredible engineers in this area, like to work with.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, we're so lucky to have like our pick of people that have worked with like great people through a bunch of different genres. So, I mean, who knows what the future is gonna lie? But Mark was incredible, and I would love to work with him again.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Very cool. So before we wrap up, guys, I want to make sure that if you have any shows coming up that you want, you know, I mean, we're in Manchester, but we have listeners online from all over the place. So anything that you want to mention that you've got coming up in the very near future. And of course, we also want to make sure that our listeners know where to find you online so they can keep up with everything that you're doing, any social media that you want to mention or a website or anything at all, so that our listeners can follow you.
Yeah, you can find us. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
I think that's it.
I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just search Oozie, that'll come up, and
YouTube, and it's Oozie.
Yeah, Oozie.
Okay.
Definitely, that's where our video and our album's up there too.
Yeah.
And I mentioned the bands we're playing with on those two shows there, but I'll say them again here. We got 413 Ska presenting Pilfers, Stop the Presses, Green Street, Fiends, Pink Slip. That's next Saturday at the Marigold Theater.
That's
In
East
Hampton,
East
Mass.
Hampton, yep.
Okay.
And then we Unearth with Hero in the Horror, Atomic War Machine, Once Were Kings, and that is Saturday, October 21st in the big room at Gateway City Arts.
Very nice. And Jenny shared in the chat room too the link to of course you guys are on herenow.com, and you can find the full album there too. No Lie to the Wild Eye. That's a cool name. Any special meaning to the album name? No Lie to the Wild Eye?
It's just kind of that you can't just lie to the nature of humanity. It's a really broad meaning. It's kind of hard to put into a line. Yeah,
that's all right. It's a really cool title. Oh, and by the way, Dan Patrick Cahill in the Facebook live chat from the band DC Wolves. He says, nice interview, guys. I think that's how Jenny connected with you guys was through him.
Yeah.
We do take recommendations seriously.
Yeah, absolutely.
The fan, and we love our DC Wolves, no doubt about it. They are good brother friends of ours. So
yeah, we had them on last week, and they're another band with a really unique, interesting sound. So it's very cool. It's cool to hear stuff that you don't hear on you don't normally hear on the radio. So very nice. Well, guys, thank you all so much, Tristan, Cooper, Adam. I really appreciate talking with you guys today. We're gonna let you go in a second, and I'm gonna play another track. I had to make a radio edit of this one because there's a bad word in it, but I love the song, so I'm gonna play "Opportunity." Great track.
Awesome. Love it. Thank you so much for having us on.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That's one bass player to another. I appreciate it.
Hey, you got it. We got to stick together, right?
Really simple. Oh.
All right, guys, we'll let you go. I'm going to play this track. Thank you so much, and we'll do this again, I'm sure.
Sounds great.
Awesome.
Thank
Awesome.
you.
All right, you got it. Take care. All right, that was the band Oozie, and we're going to give this a listen. So this is called Opportunity, and this is really good. And then we will come back with our final segment today on the program on Matt Connarton Unleashed. But here it is from No Lie to the Wild Eye, a great album from the band Oozie. This is the radio edit, of course, of Opportunity. Check this out. Come on down to the Hop Knot at 1000 Elm Street, Manchester's premier craft beer and gourmet pretzel bar. Tell us more, Trudy.
We make our dough fresh every day. We make a variety of styles of pretzels and serve craft beer, cocktails, and a few bottles of wine. We do the traditional pretzel, and we have multiple flavors for that. We also do stuffed pretzels, pretzel sandwiches, free dessert pretzels, and pretzel knots.
The Hop Knot in the Brady Sullivan Plaza at 1000 Elm Street.
Bring your kitchen to life with Queen City Cabinetry. Located at 87 Elm Street in the historic Sunbeam Mall in Manchester. Open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and Saturdays, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. They can be reached at 603-222-2007 or on the web at queencitycabinetrynh.com. Come see the possibilities. Queen City Cabinetry, another proud sponsor of WMNH.
Clemento's Pizzeria, family friendly, awesome for a date night. Clemento's Pizzeria.
For delivery, call 603-782-8450.
Clemento's Pizzeria, the best pizza in town.
1875 South Willow Street in Manchester, New Hampshire.
Best cocktails around.
Come in as friends and leave as family.
This hour on WMNH is sponsored by CGI Business Solutions, located at 5 Dartmouth Drive in Auburn. They serve all your business needs, including employee benefits planning, corporate design and business administration, investments and wealth management, and customized business insurance solutions. Their phone number is 866-841-4600 or on the web at cgibusinesssolutions.com.
WMNH, rip the knob off. You are listening to WMNH 95.3. The commander to the supreme leader, Matzo coming down.
Welcome back, everybody, as we enter our final segment today of Matt Connarton Unleashed, and we are live from the studios of WMNH 95.3 FM in glorious downtown Manchester, New Hampshire, also on Comcast Channel 6 if you're in Manchester, and hello to all of our online listeners across the nation and around the globe. You can go to my website, mattconnerton.com, for all of your live streaming options, social media links, contact info, show archives, etc., etc. Today is Monday, October 9, 2023. Happy Indigenous Peoples Day. And Jenny is here at the news desk.
Present and accounted for.
And we should remind people, for listeners just joining us, about the event you're doing on Wednesday.
Yes, very important event. We are taking part here in the Queen City to a national effort on healthcare for all. There's a healthcare rally on Wednesday from 3 to 6 p.m. in Pulaski Park. There will be art making projects, there'll be a march, there'll be a walk, speakers, story sharing, but with our focus, of course, being on healthcare and people being able to access treatments and medications that they should be able to reach. We'll, of course, be talking about Medicare disadvantage, I am sure, and what that's done to so many people. There's so many people I've met in doing this and realizing just how many people are getting hurt. How many families are getting completely, I can't think of the word without saying something that might not be FCC. Okay, so I won't say that word. Yeah. But we're running into a lot of families and a lot of people that are in situations where Medicare Advantage tells them they don't approve this treatment. They don't think you'll be able to do it, so we're not going to approve it against what a doctor says. Or they can get a medication that maybe can help them, but they can't access the med because the out-of-pocket expense is thousands of dollars. This is ridiculous in a nation that should have, that claims to have the best of the best in medicine, yet our own people can't access it. People die every day sitting next to hospitals with the medication that could have kept them alive and well locked in that building. And we need to change that in this country. And the way to do that is to join together. And that's what the Care of a Cost campaign is about. So I hope to see you there. I will be there on Bridge Street at the Pulaski Park from 3 to 6 on Wednesday.
Very good. Very good. All right. And I want to say again, thank you to the band Oozie, Tristan, Cooper, and Adam for joining us. Dan Patrick Cahill from DC Wolves in the chat room says, Oozie loves you, baby, as the band likes to say. Very nice. Yeah, I like talking to those guys, and I really love their sound.
I do, too.
Absolutely. We will be playing one more track from them when we get to the end of the show today to close out today's Matt Connarton Unleashed. Definitely. But if you'd like to join us, the phone line, the studio line is open, 603-250-6007, 603-250-6007. You can also text me at 617-917-4476. I'm on social media at Matt Connarton. You can email me, matt@mattconnerton.com. And, of course, you can interact and opine in the Facebook live chat. But the best thing to do so that we can hear and enjoy your dulcet tones is to give us a call at 603-250-6007. Let's see. Tom Blanchard in the Facebook live chat, we were talking before, of course, about Israel versus Hamas. Tom in the chat room says, Israel was supposed to have a stockpile of artillery shells and ammunition that we supplied, but we've given it all to Ukraine, so now Israel has none.
And we can't do anything about it without a speaker in the House.
Yeah.
We can't pass any aid packages. We can't send anything to anybody.
Right.
We need a speaker. We need them to get off their tookuses, get in there, and give us a speaker. Not to mention the fact that in about, 40 days, we're going to be facing another government shutdown. This is not a time for Congress to be on vacation.
No. I think more and more, now that I've had some time to kind of sit with it and process it all, and I said this before, but I'm more... my opinion has become more solidified on this. I really think the Democrats should have rescued McCarthy. It's like I said before. I understand why they didn't, and on the merits, I could not argue against any of their arguments for why they didn't. But I wish that they had. I really do.
They made a political decision that's going to have real human effects. Whether you like the guy or don't like the guy, he did get an agreement to keep government running. He was doing the job. He was working to get bipartisan support, because you can't get anything through without votes on both sides. So, in my opinion, they shouldn't have ousted him.
Well, so if McCarthy, who apparently now is open to running again for speaker, I heard, again, this was, I heard Smirkanish talking about this today. Maybe if he does run, because he seems to have reversed his position on that. Initially, he said he wasn't going to. But if he does run for speaker again, if some Democrats will support him, enough to get him back in, because McCarthy is very pro-Israel.
He gave quite the speech earlier today.
Yeah.
And he outlined the things that he felt he would do. He pointed out that the first thing that he did as speaker, as far as the first trip he took, was to Israel.
Yeah.
So, but I think there was a quote I saw earlier saying that something to the effect of if the ones who voted against him pledged that they would vote for him, he would come back.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's not going to happen.
I don't see any of those 8 people doing that.
No.
I really don't.
No.
Even if he gets a couple, he's not going to get enough.
Yeah.
Because they're too busy with their noses up each other's butts to pay attention to what's going on in the world. They're too busy trying to make a political point than to care about the fact that the government can shut down in a matter of 40 days. War in Israel, war in Ukraine. There's so much going on in the world that America needs to be functional right now, not at a deadlock.
Yeah.
Nothing can happen. And what are we going to do? Let the government shut down, and then we're going to have troops involved in this stuff. Right now, we've got an aircraft carrier heading over there, and they're not going to get a paycheck if the government shuts down.
Right.
They need to take the politics aside and do what's best for the country.
So this came up earlier, and speaking of McCarthy, so this is from thehill.com. McCarthy calls on Biden to refreeze $6 billion in Iranian funds. It says here, former Speaker Kevin McCarthy is calling on President Biden to refreeze $6 billion in Iranian funds in the wake of the recent attacks on Israel by Hamas in a lengthy address. So this is what you were referring to.
Yep.
Laying out a 5-step plan to address the escalating conflict in Israel. McCarthy took aim at the Biden administration for its prisoner swap with Iran and its decision to unfreeze $6 billion in frozen Iranian funds in exchange for the freedom of 5 wrongfully detained American citizens. So here's some of what he said. Biden's policy on appeasement, including money for hostage deals, must come to an end. His policy has only emboldened terrorists, and handing over $6 billion to Iran only helps the cause. In explaining that to members of Congress, they said they had provisions to refreeze the money if Iran has done something wrong. They should freeze the money back today, unquote. Now, that's interesting. I didn't realize that had already been stated, that they had provisions to refreeze the money. I was not aware of that. So that's interesting. It says here, the $6 billion has become a rallying cry for critics of the Biden administration in the wake of the attacks on Israel. Many Republicans say that the move freed up resources for Iran's military spending and support of terrorism. McCarthy, who has opened the door to potentially returning to the speakership amid the bloodshed in Israel, has also called on the Biden administration to focus on getting any Americans who may have been taken as hostages home. He said, quote, 3 years ago, there was not a war in Europe or in Israel, but today there is. The United States must reinstate the maximum pressure campaign against Iran. Refreezing the $6 billion is only the start, unquote. Last week, McCarthy became the first speaker in history to get booted by the House, with 7 Republicans voting with Democrats to strip him of the gavel. I thought it was 8.
It was 8.
Yeah, that's what I thought, too. It says here 7. I think that's just an error. I'm pretty sure it was 8.
It was 8.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken had pushed back on the Iranian criticism while making his rounds on Sunday news shows over the weekend. He emphasized that not a single dollar has been spent from the funds that has been unfrozen for the prisoner swap. He said, quote, he said this on CNN's State of the Union, quote, the facts are these. No U.S. taxpayer dollars were involved. These were Iranian resources that Iran had accumulated from the sale of its oil that were stuck in a bank in South Korea. They have had from day one, under our law, under our sanctions, the right to use these monies for humanitarian purposes, unquote. The prisoner deal last month included the Biden administration. Okay, we all know about that. Skipping down here. So it says Deputy National Security Advisor Jonathan Feiner said early today that Iran was, quote, broadly complicit, unquote, in the Hamas attack on Israel over the weekend, but noted that it was not clear whether Tehran, of course, the capital of Iran, was directly involved. He said that Iran was without a doubt indirectly responsible for backing and training Hamas. Feiner told CBS, quote, in terms of broad complicity, we are very clear about a role for Iran. What we have not seen yet at this moment, although we are continuing to look at it very closely, is any sort of direct involvement in the immediate attacks, unquote. Sounds to me like they're trying to figure out what they're going to do, whether or not to refreeze that money and so forth, which I suspect they very well might.
They should. At this point, they should.
Well,
because if they don't, what is it going to get used for?
Yeah. Well, it's supposedly it's only supposed to be used for humanitarian purposes. But one of the arguments against that deal was that, well, they can say that all they want to, but if they are using it for humanitarian purposes, that frees up money that might have otherwise been used for those humanitarian purposes to be used for something else. In other words, there's an easy loophole.
Absolutely.
Now, the other thing that we mentioned, and by the way, I do support not making any rash decisions because, and we referred to this earlier in the show, Senator Lindsey Graham, this is from Mediaite.com, proposes U.S. start bombing Iran, which I oppose, by the way. Refreezing that $6 billion is one thing, but actually bombing Iran, I've always said that's a potential flashpoint for World War III. I would rather we not do that, but of course, Lindsey Graham, always very excited to go to war. It says here, Senator Lindsey Graham, Republican of South Carolina, suggested that the U.S. consider bombing Iranian oil refineries Oh, by the way, that will you start doing that, and then the price of oil is going to spike exponentially. And then, of course, Lindsey Graham will be the first one to blame Biden for the price of oil. Just a little side note there. But so he suggested bombing Iranian oil refineries if the Iranian-funded terror group Hamas follows through on its promise to start executing hostages in the Gaza Strip. In addition to murdering and raping hundreds of Israeli civilians over the weekend, terrorists took hostages, including Americans, back to Gaza as hostages. Since then, they've threatened to execute those held captive every time Israel launches a retaliatory airstrike that kills civilians. On Fox News, Graham reacted to that threat by issuing one of his own to the Iranian government. Here's what he said. Quote, well, for every Israeli or American hostage executed by Hamas, we should take down an Iranian oil refinery. The only way you're going to keep this war from escalating is to hold Iran accountable. How much more death and destruction do we have to take from the Iranian regime? I am confident this was planned and funded by the Iranians. Hamas is a bunch of animals who deserve to be treated like animals. So if I was Israel, I would go in on the ground. There is no truce to be had here. I would dismantle Hamas. This is the best opportunity Israel has to destroy Hamas. Take it to the Iranians. If you harm one American in Syria by using your Iranian militia against us in Syria, if you escalate the war by urging Hezbollah to attack Israel in the north, if Hamas kills one American Israeli hostage, we're going to blow up your oil refineries and put you out of business. It is now time to take the war to the Ayatollah's backyard, unquote. By the way, so some of what he says there I agree with in terms of dismantling Hamas, and, you know, this is an opportunity for Israel to do that. I agree with that part, but I don't think we should start bombing Iranian oil refineries. I think that's stupid. And it's, I would also note, he did say that, that's the only way to keep this from escalating. No, that would be highly escalatory if we go in and start bombing Iranian oil refineries. I think that's insane.
And let me add a little bit more, just a reason to kind of tamper down a little bit. I've been researching some of the articles that are going out right now. The Guardian is actually reporting that the Israeli military does not have any concrete evidence of Iranian involvement in the Hamas attack from Gaza in this moment. Iran is a major player, but we can't yet say if it was involved in the planning and training. So even the Israeli Defense Force is saying, we don't have the evidence yet.
Yeah.
And that's what they're telling the Guardian. And I have no doubt in my mind that if they truly believe they had evidence of such, that's what they would be saying. They have no reason to hold punches back at all.
Well, especially when you consider historically, Netanyahu is usually only too happy to accuse Iran of anything anything that he can, well, that he thinks he credibly can.
Though.
So for him, but what I'm saying though, for him to show that restraint and to not directly say, well, we got to do something about Iran here, that's unusual. So for him to show that restraint, that tells me that there's some healthy skepticism that Iran is directly involved. That doesn't excuse any complicity in it.
The glaring thing is that Iran does support Hamas. They do support their line of thinking and the way that they want things to be. So there's that.
Right.
So you really do, I think it's good that they're showing some restraint to say, let's make sure we have evidence before we go that far. Because if they go that far and they pull in Iran and what we got going on in the Lebanon border with Israel, I mean, it only grows exponentially into a point where, we could be looking at a World War III should all of these embers fire up into a blaze. And I don't honestly see how it doesn't. They went so far. This wasn't like in the past where Hamas was throwing a rocket here or there or what have you. This was massive.
Mm-hmm.
This was from every avenue, air, land, sea, and the numbers that keep rising exponentially. In the time that we've been on air, they've now said that the death toll's over 1,500.
Yeah.
And it was just over I think 1,100 or 1,200 when we came on air. I mean, this isn't.
Well, this is the opportunity for Israel to wipe out Hamas.
Well, they've flat out said they're going in, and they told President Biden, we're going into Gaza.
Yeah, I mean,
there's no doubt.
That's it. They have to do that. So I don't think I'm
I don't blame them.
I'm
but
call me an optimist, but I don't think that this will expand beyond that. I think that this will remain essentially Israel versus Hamas, and I think Israel is going to. Again, the part that Senator Graham said that I do agree with is in terms of this being Israel's opportunity to dismantle Hamas, and I think that's exactly what they're going to do. And I think we should, of course, as always, we should stand with them in that. And that's it. That's.
The world is in such pieces right now. I mean, it's frightening, and we need our government to be functioning. This is, all right, this is it. All bets are off. You guys need to put the politics aside, get back to the House. Let's get back to business. Elect a speaker and deal with this stuff before it gets worse and we don't deal with it. Because if we don't deal with things correctly, this can exponentially become exactly what I'm afraid of.
Well, we're rapidly. I don't want to overstate what just happened in the U.S. House of Representatives, but this paralysis now that we don't have a speaker, and I don't know how they're going to elect a new speaker. I don't know who's going to be able to get to 218, and if it's Jim Jordan, I assume Jim Jordan supports Israel, but he does not support Ukraine, and so we're going to end up walking away from Ukraine. And Jim Jordan, I think, would be perfectly happy to have the United States default on our debt when it's time to deal with that again and so forth.
He'll let us shut down.
So I do think that that the consequence of what has happened in the House of Representatives, and this is why I wish the Democrats had actually saved McCarthy. I understand why they feel he didn't deserve it. Again, on the merits, I completely understand. But I think big picture, it's the devil you know versus the devil you don't. And the devil you don't is, I think, ultimately, our influence in the world is really going to take a very severe hit as all this is happening. And maybe part of why this is happening right now is part of a result of that. We don't look very good. We don't look very strong. We made a commitment to Ukraine that it looks like we're probably not going to keep. And we can't, as you said, we can't really do much more to help Israel, certainly not with aid, if we don't have a functioning House of Representatives that can pass something to do that. So America looks pretty impotent right now.
And we're very close to a shutdown. And I have little doubt in my mind that Jim Jordan will let the government shut down.
Oh, absolutely.
He's not going to care that the sailors that are on that aircraft carrier outside of Israel there aren't going to get their paychecks if the government shuts down. He doesn't care.
No, Steve Scalise might care if it ends up being Steve Scalise, but no, Jim Jordan is, I think, would just be a terrible choice. But it is probably going to be Jim Jordan because the God Emperor has spoken and indicated that he wants it to be Jim Jordan. So
yes, Trump has anointed.
So it's most likely going to be Jim Jordan. But I don't know how. But if he can get to, and he actually, and he can get to 218 because he'll be able to get those Freedom Caucus people. So it'll probably be Jim Jordan, and that will be the end of our help for Ukraine.
Doesn't he have to pull over some Democrats for that to happen?
No,
we don't have 218.
They elected McCarthy without any Democrats. They just have to be able to, as long as the House Freedom Caucus members, enough of them are okay with it, or they vote present, then no, Jim Jordan can get to. No, I mean, it's probably going to be Jim Jordan. Trump already told them he wants it to be Jim Jordan.
Like the worst possible person.
They do whatever Trump says, right? So
he's horrible.
He's going to be the Republican nominee, so of course they're going to do what he says.
He doesn't believe in science.
Who, Jim Jordan?
Correct. He is not a science believer. He went after Fauci. Help me.
Fauci,
thank you. as if he was like the devil incarnate. And dude's a scientist trying to keep us all from not dying. I mean, this guy is not a science believer. He's dangerous.
Yeah.
I really hope that doesn't. I would rather have McCarthy back, at least.
Yeah. I mean, I'd rather have Steve Scalise than Jim Jordan, but I'd rather have McCarthy back than either of them.
He's not as dangerous. He's not as far to the right. But now what? Now what? We're in a very precarious position, and if you've never talked to your elected officials, you might want to start doing it now.
Yeah.
Let them know that you care, because they care about your vote. That's what they care about.
Oh, yeah. They care about you on Election Day.
Absolutely, because they need that vote so they can keep getting that Cadillac insurance, nice big fat paycheck.
Well, we got to wrap up, and we are going to end today's show with one more track from Oozie, this song Kamikaze.
Yeah.
Another one of the tracks that I really like. But do you want to mention your website before we go and the event on Wednesday?
Absolutely. If you want to check out more on me, go to JennCoffey.com, JennCoffey.com. And I hope to see you on Wednesday between 3 and 6 p.m. at Pulaski Park here in the Queen City, Manchester. We'll be having some sign making going on. We're talking healthcare for all. There will be a march, and there will be speakers and story sharing going on. I really hope to see you at Pulaski Park on Wednesday at 3 p.m.
And tomorrow on the show, our musical guest is Authentic Descent. They are returning live in studio, so really looking forward to that.
Excited.
All right. Thank you again to the guys from Oozie for joining us. And if you missed any part of today's show, it'll be up in just a little bit at WMNHradio.org and at my website, MattConnarton.com. And we're going to leave you with one more track from Oozie. This is called Kamikaze to close out today's Matt Connarton Unleashed, and we'll talk to y'all a little bit later. Bye, everybody.
You'll never get to see your kids play.